Anyway, this is going to be part one of a series of videos I'm going to make looking into the possibility of Chris Chan being demonically possessed from the perspective of somebody who is very interested and involved in occultism and the Western esoteric tradition. I'm somebody who's been watching Chris Chan for years, ever since the classic period, and I kind of stopped looking into him after I sort of got bored in 2015, and then I just came back recently and all hell has broken loose. He's gone to a whole another level with regards to the whole dimensional merge thing, and saying that he's possessed by Magi-Chan, and then he's possessed by Sonichu, and that it's all real, and C-197 and all that stuff. And that has rung a lot of alarm bells to me. I've sort of gone, oh, this is very interesting. And then with the involvement of the idea guy, sort of in Hyperdimension Neptunia, and then Jacob Sockness, who is somebody I am extremely interested in, being an occultist. And so I thought I'd look into this more, and somebody asked me to, when I made a comment not that long ago, stating I sort of commented to Chris Chan, telling him that he is demonically possessed. And some people wanted me to go into a bit more detail about that. So I decided I'd do it in a video format because it would just take too long to try and write it all down. Now, I'm not doing this to make fun of Chris Chan. I'm not doing this to make fun of people like Jacob Sockness. They've both gotten enough shit from people. And I'm not doing this to try and manipulate anything. And I'm not a Christorian or anything like that. I'm purely interested on this subject matter from the magical perspective. Because like Chris Chan, I sort of see reality in using kind of magical thinking, which is very different from the way that Chris uses it, but at the same time there's quite a few crossovers, mostly because of Chris's engagement within the New Age community and all that stuff. And yeah, I'm also making this video because, yeah, I'm actually legitimately worried about Chris Chan. I want him to be around long enough to see where things go without the interference of, of other things that could potentially destroy him and his psyche. Now, in this video, I'm not going to try and attempt to explain what a demon is or what I believe a demon is. But when I refer to a demon, I'm not talking about it in the Abrahamic sense. Like, I'm not coming at this from from that perspective at all. I'm not a Christian, and yeah, at the same time, I see this phenomena being essentially the same as the UFO phenomena and the alien phenomena and the, what's it called again, and the jinn in particular, and fairy folklore. I'm coming from that kind of angle, which I'll go into more detail in another video. So I guess I'll stick with a kind of Jungian perspective on this phenomena. And in this video, I'm mostly going to be comparing Chris's work, Sonichu in particular, especially his latest episodes or whatever they are, to other channeled texts or received texts, whatever you want to call them, and to, in particular, the work of Aleister Crowley and other occultists like Peter J. Carroll and Ramsey Dukes. So I'll get into that now. I'm going to be heavily referencing a demon that came out of Enochian magic, which is a whole nother subject matter. And that's where the whole angelic language or Enochian language came from Dr. John Dee, who was Queen Elizabeth's astrologer, and Sir Edward Kelly, who using scrying essentially pulled through an entire magical system that is amazing. Anyway, there's a particular demon within Enochian magic that has become infamous, mostly due to Aleister Crowley and chaos magicians later in the 1970s and 80s, and that is Choronzon 333, the Babbler of the Abyss, or the Dweller on the Threshold. I'm going to be using this demonic archetype as the main reference, particularly in this video, to what Chris Chan might be manipulated by or experiencing because of the huge likeness of Choronzon to Chris Chan's behavior and the way it is affecting his life and possibility of possession. Edward Kelly called Choronzon 333 the king of all devils. They even referred to it as being the serpent within the Garden of Eden. And it's probably one of the most notorious demons in history, other than Pazuzu, made very famous from the book and the movie The Exorcist. Now I'm going to go into what Aleister Crowley said about Choronzon 333 in his book Confessions, and also what a occultist from the chaos magic community back in the 80s, I think, Peter J. Carroll said on the same subject matter. The name of the dweller in the abyss is Choronzon, but he is not really an individual. The abyss is empty of being. It is filled with all possible forms, each equally inane, each therefore evil in the only true sense of the word, that is, meaningless but malignant, insofar as it craves to become real. These forms swirl senselessly into haphazard heaps like dust devils, and each such chance aggregation asserts itself to be an individual and shrieks, "I am I," though aware all the time that its elements have no true bond, so that the slightest disturbance dissipates the delusion, just as a horseman, meeting a dust devil, brings it in showers of sand to the earth. Now, that's a little description of the Babbler of the Abyss, or Choronzon 333, by Aleister Crowley. And it's a good description of demonic entities as a whole. They will appear to you as anything you want them to be. Say if you're a Christian, if one of these non-material intelligences wants to get into you, psychically attack you, whatever, but if it wants to possess you or manipulate you, it will come in the form of an angel if you're a Christian. It will come in the form of an alien if you're a ufologist or really into that kind of stuff, as, you know, all love and all peace. It will come in the form of anything it can to manipulate you, to get into you. And as the priest says in The Exorcist, the demon is a liar, And unless you manage to force them to tell the truth, they will not tell you the truth. They will lie. And Choronzon 333 is a great example of this, because all demonic entities seem to do this. And I believe Chris Chan is actually telling the truth when he says he's possessed. But it's not fucking Magi-chan. It's not Sonichu. He's being possessed by a demonic entity pretending to be Magi-chan or Sonichu. And a lot of the time they'll try and get you through your dreams. And Chris Chan goes on and on about his prophetic dreams. And they'll also do things, and Chris Chan has terrible magical practice. He does not protect himself. He opens himself up to being attacked, just as he does through real life with the trolls. So does he in the spiritual realm. There is no difference. The rules of engagement are the same. If you mess up in real life, if you walk across the road without looking, and you get hit by a car, it's kind of the same thing, in a sense, in the spiritual realm, or whatever you want to call it. Why would you not take the same precautions? What I'm trying to say is, why would you not try and take the same precautions you would in real life to protect yourself? Why wouldn't you do that with your magical practice or within the spiritual aspects of your life? Why do you think there's a difference? As above, so below. There is absolutely no difference. And Chris Chan, I'll go into it in another video, but his magical practice is absolutely terrible. Terrible. And I'm not saying he's terrible, I'm just saying that his practices, the way that he engages within that spiritual realm, is extremely dangerous to himself. Now, Peter J. Carroll, a chaos magician, when he talks about Choronzon, he mentions that Choronzon is simply the name given to the obsessional side effects of any deluded search for a false holy guardian angel, or Magi-chan, or anything which the magician would mistake for his own profound genius itself. Is Chris Chan possessed by Choronzon 333? Now that description, to me, is exactly what I'm trying to talk about with regards to Chris Chan and demonic possession. And also his practices of meditation, his tarot cards, even though I've never seen. He's using some oracle deck or something from some new age crazy stuff. He's not using the Rider-Waite deck or the Thoth deck. He has no idea what he's doing. But that's harmless, that part. Anyway, he's just as bad with that than he is with everything else. Anyway, as I said, Choronzon 333 is not the only demon that uses that kind of tactic, pretending to be a holy guardian angel, and that obsessional side of yourself. Even if, in just psychological terms, if Choronzon is just an aspect of the subconscious that deludes itself into thinking that it's in contact with a higher genius or entity or the daemon, that is enough of a demon to me as a sort of description. Now, in the next video, I'm going to really go into, since Chris Chan is so deluded by these entities that have attached themselves to him, that he thinks that he's gone beyond what, people like Jacob Sockness. I don't want to attack the guy. I find him fascinating. His occult practice is also absolutely terrible. It's terrible not in that he's doing bad things, it's that he's not protecting himself in the way that he's doing it. And Jacob Sockness, to me, really seems like a guy who used to know his shit and used to do it well, but then fucked up somewhere and left some gates open that he couldn't then close. And then something came out. And then we've got the Jacob Sockness of today that remains. I don't even know how much of Jacob Sockness is even in Jacob Sockness anymore. I actually have a profound empathy for the guy. But anyway, I'm going to compare people like Chris Chan and Jacob Sockness to Aleister Crowley. Things like the Book of the Law and the Vision of the Voice, and these kind of revealed texts, to use a Freemasonic term, or a Masonic term. Sorry, I know you don't like being called Freemason. You don't like being... Oh, fuck it. Anyway. I should probably edit that part out, but... Anyway. I'm going to kind of compare people who have claimed to be prophets, like Aleister Crowley, who I actually believe was being truthful, and I believe the Book of the Law is a legitimate text. In fact, I follow it pretty well. I guess you could call me a Thelemite to some degree. And compare that to Sonichu, or compare that to the channel texts that Jacob Sockness does. And I hope to do a lot more research by going into their Twitter and looking around and seeing some more comparisons, because Chris Chan is, I mean, claiming to be much more than a prophet, but his latest Sonichu editions are, to me, very much like somebody who has been channeling and listening to the lies of demons, thinking it's the higher self or a higher entity or holy guardian angel or Magi-chan in this case, when it's just one of the babblers of the abyss. Anyway, I know this is a very strange subject matter, and I'm going to work on this more in the future. And I hope people have enjoyed this video. I am fascinated by Chris Chan and Jacob Sockness and other people like that, and it meshes with my fascination with the occult. So I'm more than happy to continue making videos. Anyway, stay safe. Have a good day.